So the plot still continues with Midi from Suno. Now, if you haven't already watched, I've done two videos previously on this. So the first one was exporting from Suno directly and analyzing the stems, which were not great. They didn't really have any detailed MIDI, but they were polyphonic, which I thought was quite good. Then the last video, I checked out RipX, which is similar to Melodyne. But what I found was that it was changing the pitch slider way too much in terms of the MIDI export. So in this video, I thought we'd try Melodyne. Now, I'm on a free trial. There's a 30-day free trial with Melodyne. And I think the basic package is about $100, something like that. And then it goes up and up and up. So I thought we'd try the same stem extraction of my track Treading Lightly to see how Melodyne does. So what I'm going to do, these were the extracted stems from uh, Suno. But actually, what I think I might do is actually go into Suno and ensure that I've got the fixed tempo, which is new functionality that Suno is now doing, which really helps with digital audio workstations. So I've got Treading Lightly here. I'm just trying to remember which one it is. I think it's this one.
If I knew.
Yeah, that's the one. So I go to the ellipse button and I go get stems to MIDI, the extracted stems. And this is the new feature here, which I featured in one of the last videos called WAV Tempo Locked, okay? Because we want it to be assigned as good as possible to the time signature, the time signature, so that we can actually keep to the beat in the digital audio workstation. So it's just downloading those now. Sorry, I've got a cold, you can probably tell, but I'm plodding through. So it's just going to download those stems now. And they're quite large stems, so we'll just give it a moment. While we're waiting for that, let's have a quick look at Melodyne, because it might be something that you guys are interested in. So this is the website here, and you can see this is the more expensive version. But they have Essential, which is 99 euros. They have the Assistant, which is 249 euros, and the Editor, which is 400. But you do get a 30-day free trial, which is good to know. And they have something called Capstan, which I'm not sure what that is. Now, I used Melodyne about 10 years ago, haven't used it since. I literally used it for a couple of days to see what it did, and that was it. So I really don't have much knowledge of Melodyne. So it's now downloaded the stems, so I'm going to go into here. I'm just going to drag that to my desktop because, as you can see, that's what we had previously, and this is what we have now. And because we've got 112 beats per minute, that's what we'd set in the digital audio workstation to actually test it. So having that information, I can now minimize all of this, get rid of that. Now, from my understanding, you got tracks at the top, okay? Oh, it's done MIDI only. That's not what we wanted. Okay. Why has it done MIDI only? What the hell? Download again. Okay, let me just pause this video and come back. Okay, it was my mistake. What it did is it created a zip folder and I forgot to write down the bottom. So I'm just going to double click on that just to extract the stems. Then I've got the stems here. Here we are. This is what I wanted. Right. Let me minimize that. I'm just working from one screen, which is always so much fun downstairs. Now, we're not going to bother with the lead vocals and the backing vocals purely because, you don't really typically need MIDI for those. So I'm going to highlight all of these and I'm going to literally drag those 7 stems and let go. Now, what it's doing, it's going to analyze the polyphonic notes in terms of the duration, the pitch. There we go. So it seems to have done all of those stems in terms of the analysis. It's detected that it's 112.01, which we'll let that go. 4x4 time signature, and it's in the key of D minor. So already that's actually really helpful. So let's just have a listen to it in here. Remember, we don't have the vocals. Here we go. Oh, okay. Do I have to click on one? Okay, I think it was just an issue with my sound card. So if I click here, trying to work out how to use this damn thing. Here, hello. Oh, we'll get the gist. There we go. It's quiet again. Okay, there's a problem with my OBS, but you get the gist because you've heard the track before. There we go. It was on repeat at the top. That's why, which we don't really want. Okay, so the joy about this is that you can click on each individual stem and down the bottom when you should transfer it down the bottom, then you can change the pitch. But we don't actually want to do that, do we? But that is what Melodyne is really good for. Similar to Ripex, obviously Ripex is a later version of Melodyne in terms of as a digital audio workstation. Okay, so that's something to bear in mind. Okay, back in the room, back in the room. Okay, so that's fine. Happy with all of that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to double check these options, make sure there's nothing obvious that we need to do. I'm hoping that it'll export with them all at the top rather than the bottom. Otherwise, I've got to do each one internally. Oh, this might be an issue because we've got percussive as the algorithm here, whereas I'm questioning whether we need melodic. So it's set down to auto, so we'll just see how we get on with that. But that is something to bear in mind. So what I'm going to do now, obviously, if I went to save as, that's just going to save the project. We don't want to do that. We want to go to File and Export. We want to change the output to MIDI instead of WAV because we don't want WAV. So I've changed that to MIDI. Now we've only got a few options here. We've got we've got entire length, which is what I'm going to do actually because I don't want to risk any issues here. But you could change to ranges, start a reference track, individual range. So I'm doing entire length. And it says individual file for each track, which is what we want. So that's, I think that's already selected. It's not highlighted, but that's what's on. And we're going to click export. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it to the desktop. I'm going to call it Treading Lightly, the name of the track, MIDI from Melodyne, create and open and export. So now you can see with my little scroll wheel, it's going to start to hopefully do that now. So we'll just give it a moment. Oh, there we go. It's done. Well, apparently it's done. There's no confirmation. So now if I go to my desktop, MIDI from Melodyne, we now have our MIDI tracks as well as these two ones down the bottom as well. Just looking at the file sizes here, we've got really not much for drums, really not much for bass. Oh, but they are kilobytes rather than bytes. God, they're small, aren't they, MIDI files? They are so small. Because remember, it's just about having the programmable data. That's what we need. So I think the next stage is to test these in my digital audio workstation and see how they sound. Okay, so now what I've done is I've just gone into Cubase and I'm just creating a new folder for us as a new project, which I'm going to open. And I'm going to go into these Melodyne and I'm going to, let's hope this works. Okay, no, that doesn't work like that. Dragging it in the timeline does work, but I don't want to do that either. So I'm going to go into, let's just undo. Oh, it's already undone it. So let's go into import MIDI file. No, I don't want to create a new project. Desktop, MIDI for Melodyne. And I'm going to do these one at a time. Oh, that's a little concerning. And it hasn't detected that that's drums either. Interesting. Let's keep going. Oh my God. I'm having so much fun with this, guys. Bass. Well, mute drums. Okay, can you see it hasn't changed the beats per minute? So I think what I'm going to do is go to create empty. Let's create another one. There we go. Okay, 112. I'll just leave it as 112. That'll hopefully be okay. Import MIDI file. No. Let's just have a look at this down the bottom. What does new track look like? Not much. What does untitled to tempo? Is that the actual tempo of it? Setting that? Might be, but we defaulted that anyway. We already did that. Okay, so that's the two files at the bottom anyway. So we're going to have drums, which we know is not currently set as drums. We're then going to go to input MIDI. No, put in the bass. Might be okay. I think I might just need to zoom in on the track, but we'll soon find out. Guitar. Okay, well, there's no guitar, is there? MIDI file. No. Keyboard. Oh, a little bit on the keyboard. Percussion, which I'm presuming, again, may not detect that it's percussion. So for the moment, I'm going to mute that. Then we've got synth. Okay, that looks more promising as well. Remember, just because if there's a single note on one of these tracks, it'll still put it in. And then we've got other, which is always stuff in other. Okay. Now it's going to sound really off to begin with, guys, okay? Because it may not have used the default instruments. You can see them up the top. So let's just zoom in a little bit, see what we get here. So we're going to start with bass and other. It's not bad. Okay, so obviously we've got default piano here. So what I'm able to do is go to uh, change the instrument on here from grand piano. So if I just type in bass on here, let's play it. That's better. Synth. Do, do, do. So what I'm doing, just to explain, I'm just changing the instruments. So we've got electric bass on here. We've got synth bass 1 on here. We've then got synth strings on here. And then in terms of other, yeah, maybe I need to listen to other just to see what's actually being played. Not much. Okay, good. Now I want to address the drums. So all I did on here is I changed the drum mapping to a GM map, and there's not much information on here for the drums, which is really bizarre. It's kind of grouped it all together. So I'm not very happy with the drums. So in terms of that, I'm gonna ignore the drums. So we've got our bass, we've got our keyboard, our synth, and other. So we've really got 4 tracks here to play with. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to import the vocal. Let's check it's this one. If I knew. Yeah. And I'm going to go to add an audio track, vocals. I love how it randomly puts it where it thinks you want it to go. Start it down here actually, and then I'll go to File, Import Audio File, Desktop, that one. Okay, let it load. Why has it gone all the way? Oh, it's because that's where my bar was. Oh, don't you love when it does this? Right, so let me move it. Not a problem. Of course, I'm not going to know exactly when it times in, so let me sort that out. Now, bear in mind, you guys, if you're trying this for yourselves, you will get different results, okay? Because this is based on this track in particular, remember. So you may get more joy with the drums. I may have people screaming at me in the comments saying, "You didn't do this with the drums." So apologies, I can only do the best I can. I'm not familiar with Melodyne, okay? However, I'd say it's done, apart from the drums, it's done a really good job. There's a couple of notes here and there that would need tweaking. Um, but I think overall it's not bad. So let's take a listen, shall we?
If I knew what I wanted, I'd take you like a thief in the night. You'd never see me coming,
Could you hear that note was a little bit off then?
but I don't know what I want. So I'm treading lightly. If I knew how to love you, I'd take your hand and never let go. Oh, I make my arms your castle, but I don't know how to love. So I'm treading lightly. If I knew who I was, I could be her in your eyes. I could show up as the one, but I don't know who I am. So I'm treading lightly. If I knew how to love you, I'd take your hand and never let go. Oh, I make my arms your castle, but I don't know how to love. So I'm treading lightly.
Now, what I'd probably do in this instant was actually just import the audio of the drums alongside it. And then I think that would make more sense for my particular example. But I actually think that Melodyne is the best export to MIDI program out there currently. That's certainly the best job. That's better than Suno's currently. That's better than RipX. And it seems pretty consistent. I'm really pleased and impressed with Melodyne. However, obviously, there's still work that needs to be done. And I think that's what the concern is. You kind of need to be, you need to know your way around a digital audio workstation to make these amendments on here. So it may be, for example, let's have a listen to this. In fact, let me have a listen. Yeah, the synth's not bad actually. Oh, here we are. Here's a good example. Right, so on this bass here, can you see that note there? That shouldn't be there. So you delete that with the backspace key and you go through, you'd have to review everything what it's done in terms of the timing. Can you see that's a bit off there? So you'd want to move that or you snap it to grid. This note may need to be extended out, this brought back in, this moved to the next line. So there's still editing that's needed, but I'd say the majority of the data seems to be there, which isn't bad to be fair. And remember, they may be offbeat anyway, to be fair. So it's something to bear in mind. And Cubase does a good job of kind of highlighting notes that it thinks may not be correct. So you could just review maybe the bluey purpley notes if you wanted and leave the reds as is. A lot of people go by ear. I'm fortunate to be able to go by ear, so I can correct things as I go. But I would say Melodyne is definitely the clear winner. However, I'd probably say well, apart from the drums, we're probably 80-85% there compared with Suno, which I'd probably say was about 60%, and RipX maybe 65. So Melodyne is definitely the clear winner. So I thought I'd share that on this video. Um, but yeah, it still needs some work. And what's going on with the drums? I mean, I really don't understand what happened with the drums on here. Sounded pretty good on here. I mean, what I could do actually, let me just, I'm wondering if I change that to universal. No, actually, because no, because that's quite good, isn't it? To be fair. I just want to see if I can visualize it before. Oh, here we are. So we've got it down here. Can you see here? So these are going to be the MIDI notes that it's going to play. And as you can see, they're all on the same note, and that's not what we want because they're different instruments. Let me just quickly change the algorithm to universal. No, it's still doing the same thing. So there's something I'm missing here, okay? Could it be percussive pitched? Aha! Let's have a listen, shall we? I'm still not convinced, guys, but if I export, no, I can't just do one track, can I? Test drums, open. Okay, has it exported for me? So what we can then do, oh, it's going to add a MIDI track anyway when I do this. So I'll go to File on Cubase, File, Import, MIDI. No, I do not want to create a new project. Why does it keep saying that? Test the drums, drums. I missed where that was put. It's down the bottom, isn't it? Here we are. Here we are. Right, so I'm going to keep the drums muted, the original drums. These apparently are the new drums, but I guarantee the mapping will be absolutely wrong. So let me just mute all of these.
I
Let's have a
knew
listen.
what I wanted.
Okay, so I changed that to GM map, right?
I take you like a thief in the night. You never see me coming,
Not bad.
but I don't know what I want. So I'm treading lightly. If I knew how to love you, I'd take your hand and never let go.
Obviously, if you've got better instruments, better VSTs, then it's going to sound a lot better. This is why I use Cubasis on my iPad because it's a simplified version. The VSTs are so much more cheaper. Um, and I just seem to work better on the iPad, to be fair. But there we go. We do have drums now. So it was remembering to go to the algorithm and, oh, it's chosen it as polyphonic sustain instead of, oh no, that's on there, isn't it? Is it still set default automatic? Oh, I don't understand that bit. But anyway, I got it to work. So it's clicking on here, changing the algorithm until you see what you'd expect to see with different notes. And then obviously it's just a case then of just exporting and trying it in your DAW. So there you have it. Hope that's helped. Oh gosh, this MIDI scenario's been such a challenge, but we're getting there. And hope you enjoyed this video. If you got any comments, let me know. And I appreciate it. Take care. Bye.